You want me to put that on my Tudor?
This One's Wife. As ever newsletter. Cringe and lies. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. You will remember when the clusterfuck that was American Riviera Orchard was hastily launched in March of last year to overshadow Prince William's event, that This One's Wife made a series of ultimately fatal errors, one of which was there was no engagement, that she had created this brand, hastily had an Instagram launching page, a shitty video, no products, the jam scam, but there was no actual engagement. All it wanted was your email address. You were not able to converse with This One's Wife, despite her having plenty of time on her hands. There were no articles, there were no discussions about what was forthcoming. It was simply silence. And that resulted in a failure to create any buzz or excitement around the product. This One's Wife has done similarly with As Ever, whereby she launched it in her back garden while she was taking a wee amongst the foliage, and then there hadn't been particularly much in the way of engagement as it was hastily announced. Though, with her now greater use of Instagram, we've been subjected to near daily images of the product on both her personal Instagram and the As Ever official site. Well, she's now upped the ante when it comes to engagement, because if you provided your email address, you have now received a newsletter. Yes, aren't you excited about that? What do you get? Well, it's the first newsletter from As Ever, and it starts off, as you can see on the screen, with a picture of This One's Wife's arm. As Ever, for some reason, she still doesn't capitalize the E on ever, which makes it look stupid because it's meant to be a brand. We see a dog's head, which makes it look like it's eating the food on the table, which is not particularly hygienic, but that's par the course, isn't it, for This One's Wife, a woman who regularly dangles her fingers, ungloved, jewellery and hair in whatever food she's preparing. You'll see in the top left that there's a loose strand on her garment, such as her freakish attention to detail. More about that in another video. The logo is prominent that she has stolen from the Mallorcan town. And we know that This One's Wife is an ardent day drinker. She was pretty keen to crack open the bolly with Mindy Kaling, and there is a glass of something fizzy and presumably alcoholic central to the picture. There's a jar of As Ever spread, but we have to ask ourselves, what the dickens is This One's Wife doing with the honey? Why are you drizzling it all the way up there onto the croissant? Why don't you get one of those honey sticks that can be used, and the purpose of them is to avoid you looking like an unaccomplished moron as you spill and drizzle the honey in that fashion? We're told, ever since I can remember, I've been dreaming up easy ways to elevate the everyday into the exceptional. Yes, preoccupied with the concept of elevation is This One's Wife. And thus, this is what we see on the opening page from the newsletter. A stylized image which shows her as the drinker with a loose thread and unable to pour honey properly. It's a good start, isn't it? Oh, but we're just warming up. You need to steel yourself for maximum cringe levels and the feeling that you're reading something that might have been generated by artificial intelligence were it not for the fact that AI would probably do a better job than the nonsense that I'm about to take you through. The next page has an image from above, plan view of some crepes, and we're going to hear all about that. Once again, we're told, ever since I can remember, I've been dreaming up easy ways to elevate the everyday into the exceptional. I always knew. Now, narcissists regularly use absolutes such as always and never I've always loved you, when in actual fact the narcissist is incapable of love, and you've only come up on the narcissist radar yesterday, but the narcissist makes it sound like they've loved you from afar because that sounds all the more impressive. You never do anything for me, which completely ignores the last decade where you've been treated like an indentured servant by the narcissist. Narcissists use always and never because of a consequence of the black and white thinking of the narcissist. There's no degrees, there's no grey. You either always or you never. And of course with this one's wife, because she's trumpeting herself, and keep an eye on how often she mentions I and me and myself, I always knew that I wanted to turn these ideas into something real and to make beautiful items that spark connection. Fuck off. And celebrate quiet, meaningful moments. I mean, really, who the fuck sits there and thinks, I need to spark connection? You make food because it's good to look at and even better to eat. Food is a fuel, but it has become something which is an event in itself, something to enjoy. But spark connection? This is just once again the nonsense that this empty shell of a narcissist creates, thinking this is what people actually say and do. And she hasn't got a clue. She hasn't got a clue because she has no emotional empathy. She hasn't got a clue because she isn't intelligent enough, like some narcissists can, to absorb what she sees around her and regurgitate it in a convincing way. This nonsense about celebrating quiet, meaningful moments. What does she do? Sit there, gazing into the garden. I'm celebrating a quiet, meaningful moment. How is it meaningful? It's bollocks. Maybe mimic the magic of Monty Shitshow, heavy on the alliteration there, in a way you can recreate at home. Oh, how condescending. I am the Grand Duchess of Sussex. I live in a mansion in Monty Shitshow, which is an enclave of the elite. But you peasant, yes, you there, in your one-bedroomed apartment in a shitty area of London, you could perhaps mimic the magic of Monty Shitshow. What about you over there? Yes, young child, you effectively live on a rubbish tip in India and go through it to try and scavenge for items that you can sell. Don't worry, you might be able to mimic the magic of Monty Shitshow when you're trying not to die as a consequence of your exposure to feces and bacteria. Oh, hello, are you living in a hellhole? That's okay. Don't worry about the bombs that are exploding around you and the fact that a tank has just gone through half your house. You perhaps could maybe mimic the magic of Monty Shitshow. Fuck off, you condescending dickwad. You absolutely haven't got a clue about the way that people live. And she thinks that she is like this fairy godmother that comes along. Oh, Monty Shitshow, so magical. You can mimic it in your own home, even though you're a prole and a peon and a peasant. She continues again talking about herself. I'm so excited to introduce the As Ever collection to you this week. Okay. Are we seeing it in this newsletter? Are we seeing the actual products? Because so far, no. There's the usual jar of spread. But beyond that, where are the other products? One would have thought that if you are introducing the As Ever collection, that we would actually get to see it. But as ever with this one's wife, she's cack-handed. Every item is inspired by the ways I show care to the people in my life. Like your father-in-law, who you outed as a racist, and your stepmother-in-law, who you've criticised through Spare, and your brother-in-law, who you flirted with and then have ostracised from his brother, or your sister-in-law, who you have regularly sought to emulate, who you're envious of, and who your attack dogs in the Sussex squad behaved absolutely abhorrently towards, and you didn't do a jack shit thing to call them off or criticise them. or suggest that what they were doing was wrong. Perhaps you're showing care for your father who you've not bothered with for years, even though he's ill, or your half-siblings, or the friends that you've dumped by the wayside, or the people you use. Are those all of the people that you're talking about that you show care to? Or do you mean your husband that you regularly devalue and make him look like a beta cuck as you cause his charities to go up in fire, and he increasingly looks like a completely useless individual as a consequence of you having stuck your proboscis into him? Is those the people that you show care to? Or the kids that you regularly exploit by showing a thumb or a tooth or a lock of hair from? Are those the people that you're showing care to? Hypocrite. Like the lemon ginger tea blend, which is a fuss-free spin on the warm drink I make at home using fresh lemons from the garden. Or the crepe mix that transforms a typical weekend breakfast into a chance to reminisce. Absolutely. I mean, that's what we all do at breakfast time, isn't it? You crack open the Cocoa Pops and you think, my goodness me, that reminds me of the time that I scored the winning goal at Wembley in the FA Cup. I had Cocoa Pops that morning. Oh, look at this piece of toast that I have here that I have smeared butter and marmalade upon. A bite of that and it takes me back to that time I was fighting against the Argentinians in the Falklands. Oh, how we reminisce each time we have breakfast. But here comes a great big dollop of this one's wife bullshit. Crepes remind me of my time backpacking through France as a student. Bullshit alert. Bullshit alert. This is a new one, isn't it? We've not heard of her backpacking through France before, but all of a sudden her narcissism has caused her to invent something that she's done and insert it into the newsletter in the now for the purposes of bringing up the past, albeit invented, to control the now. A typical narcissistic maneuver. What backpacking is this? This one's wife would try and get somebody else to carry her backpack if she was ever motivated to do so. This is a woman who wants to stay in 5-star hotels and fly by private jet, not slum it backpacking through France as a student. I thought she was busy childminding and looking after Irish Catholic children when she was a student. Biting into these street-side thin pancakes. Well, it's actually the case that most crepes aren't sold street-side in France, so I don't know where you get that from. Oh, yes, I do, because you're lying. Filled with chocolate, fruit, fresh lemon and powdered sugar, or made savoury with ham and cheese. They truly are a canvas for flavour. She fucking got that off a shit phrases you can use in your newsletter.com. I wanted to bring that memory and experience to you at home, because, after all, your lives are miserable and mine is wonderful. Also, they're so easy to make, are they? You don't make anything, this one's wife. You just rearrange things on a plate. So here comes the newsletter. And it's condescending. It's got a great big dollop of bullshit in the middle of the crap. And she is telling you all about how easy it is for you to do all of these things. Because this is what you want, isn't it? You want this multimillionaire-esque narcissist telling you how easy it is when in the morning you've woken up late, you're trying to ensure that your child has completed his homework from the night before whilst ensuring the other one actually eats something, but they're complaining they don't want breakfast. Your husband is asking, can you iron this shirt for me, as you're frantically trying to deal with some emails before you set off for work yourself. And of course, what you need to be doing is thinking, stop! I ought to be making crepes, because then I can reminisce about the time that I went backpacking through France, even though I never actually did. What a fucking tool. You think we're finished? Oh no, it carries on. Next we have, of course, you'll find the raspberry spread that started it all. What? Started it all? What the hell are you going on about? You mean the jam that you used in your jam scam last year? Started it all makes it sound like you're 10 years into this enterprise and that you've made your 10 millionth sale. And you're looking back and going, to celebrate this momentous occasion, I'm going to release a newsletter. And I'm going to talk about the raspberry spread because that was the inaugural product of As Ever, which was then American Riviera Orchard. She hasn't sold a fucking thing yet. There's nothing that you can yet buy. There isn't a shop. There isn't an infrastructure in place. And yet, of course, you'll find the raspberry spread that started it all. Presented in keepsake packaging, don't get me started on that you can repurpose to tuck away love notes or special treasures. What? Yeah. After all, most adults are thinking, oh, look, I've purchased some overpriced spread from an idiot, and it's come in this keepsake box, which is completely excessive and unnecessary. What could I do with that? I could take a dump in it and post it to Monty Shitshow, to the Duchess of Sussex. That would probably be the best use of it. But no, hang on a second. What about putting away some love notes or some special treasures? Once again, the teenage mind of this ridiculous woman looms large. And to remember this pivotal moment with me, I'm to buy raspberry spread and think of this one's wife. The only spread that would put me in mind of is her sticking her legs behind her ears. Think of it as our time capsule. Oh, it's excruciating, isn't it? She thinks that it's a time capsule, that you are going to buy the product and think of her. Because, of course, it's all about her. That she is so important that you're going to buy one of her products and create a time capsule from it. The grandiosity of this woman knows no bounds. And by the way, once you've enjoyed every spoonful of this fruit spread, you may want to do what I do. Of course, well, why not? You are a thought leader. We're hanging on your every written word. Rinse the jar and use it as a small bud vase for flowers on your nightstand or to hold your pens on your desk. Wow! It's revolutionary! Nobody's ever thought about that before, have they? Rinsing a jar out and repurposing it. Fuck me! What? Put flowers in it? Never realised I could do that. Or hold my pens on my desk. Listen, I won't be buying it, and the last thing I would do if I actually happened to somehow have one of your spread jars in my possession would be then to put my pens in it. It would look stupid. But this is the extent of the brilliant mind of this one's wife, to tell you this is what you need to do. Make a bud vase for flowers or to hold your pens on your desk. She'll probably next tell us toilet roll. Use one sheet to wipe and one to polish. It keeps your bottom clean. Really? I thought it was just hung there for decorational purposes. Never knew it. Wow, thanks for explaining that. I hope when you see what I've worked so hard to create, well, you think you've worked hard, but you don't understand the concept of it, you're encouraged to know whatever life brings, you can do it too. What? Create a half-arsed brand that's being ridiculed? No, thank you. Your value. Oh, we're getting to talk about us, are we? Your creativity, your joy. That is you. Fuck off, you patronising bitch. As it's always been and always will be. You are you. As ever and forever. You can imagine that the old wet towel was slapped around her noggin as she thought of that. Someone once told me the biggest risk you can take is deciding not to take one at all. Must have been had a Chinese last night, and that was what was in one of the fortune cookies. Now, after careful planning and preparing, while also parenting, ! Oh yes, as a mum, it's time to bring As Ever from my home to yours, so you can make the everyday exceptional in an easy yet meaningful way. As Ever, this one's wife, faux calligraphy. She has to get in the fact that she's a parent and that she's hard-working. I, me, me throughout. She doesn't have a clue. And you'll notice at the bottom, follow the As Ever story, and you can go to As Ever Official, whatever that is. Not official, official. Yep, that keen eye, once again, failing to notice that there is a typographical error at the bottom of her newsletter. More about that in a separate video. This is the newsletter that This One's Wife has sent out. It is cringeworthy, it's excruciating, and it's got porky pies in it. It is actually representative of This One's Wife because it's a load of patronising bullshit that has no representation in reality, and this is what she thinks is inspirational. And it is just yet another item for ridicule. The deluded narcissist strikes again. And the more that she tries to convince us as to the excellence of this brand, the more she just creates material for people to see what a self-absorbed narcissist she is that is well worth ridiculing. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.